Hey guys, my name is Matsumo, and welcome to our episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. The first question for the day is, did you see that Ubisoft is giving everyone a free Ash Elite skin as an apology for the changes to the upcoming DLC? Yeah, I did see that, and I was surprised by not only how quickly they responded to the community's concerns over this, but also the fact that they are giving out an Ash Elite skin as an apology. So if you're not aware of what he's talking about, basically a couple of days ago, Ubisoft announced that they were going to be making some pretty significant changes with this new upcoming DLC. Not only were they going to be introducing paid loot boxes, having no way of actually unlocking them with Renown, but they were also going to be increasing the price of the base game from $40 to $60. This, of course, did not go well within the community. People expressed their concerns, and this was Ubisoft's response with this apology. And so what we're getting is that as long as you log in within now until March 6th, you are getting a free Ash Elite skin. I gotta hand it to Ubisoft, that's a pretty big apology because you know that Ash Elite skin is gonna sell like hotcakes. People love to play as Ash. Ash is probably one of the most popular operators in the game. A lot of people have been waiting for this Elite skin, and so you know that they're going to be losing a lot of money because of this. So from that standpoint, this was a very nice gesture. They also said that they're gonna be keeping the standard edition. If you wanna buy the advanced edition, which would have been replacing it, you can still do so, I would imagine. It's gonna have the more cosmetic items and things like that, but if you just want to get involved with Rainbow Six Siege, you don't want to buy a $60 game that's been out for 2 years, that is still going to be possible in the future. What I was not expecting though is that they also said that they're going to be making some changes to the starter edition. One of the reasons why I never recommend this version of the game to anyone that's getting started is the incredible amount of grind required to get all of the base operators. You can be practically rank 100 in the game and still not have every single one of the base operators because the grind is that severe. And while it does get your feet in the door, you're able to test out Rainbow Six Siege, see if you like it, try out a couple of the operators, and realize, hey, this game really isn't for me. I'm glad I only spent $15. That's the nice quality of it, but if you're someone that wanted to actually play the game and a lot of the operators, this is kind of a kick in the shin because I don't think many people realize the grind that it requires when they first get started. And so the fact that they are going to be making some changes, probably not too significant because it still needs to be different from the standard edition, this is fantastic news. Now, the one thing I'm still concerned about though is that in this post, they didn't mention the paid loot boxes whatsoever. I don't know about you guys, but I just don't like paid RNG loot boxes in video games. I would hope that Ubisoft would be above that at this point, especially considering all the other ways that they've monetized this game with different microtransactions. Do you really need to have these manipulative loot boxes added into the game to be able to sustain its development? I don't think that they need to. I feel like this is just another way that they're just trying to get even more money. And while I realize that Ubisoft is a business, that's what they're trying to do at the end of the day, considering how well they've been doing so far with the monetization of the game, to add in something like this has been a real big disappointment. All in all, though, I am very happy with Ubisoft's quick response to the community's concern on this topic. I wish they went further with it. I know that some people are going to criticize me for being a bit too hard on them because at the end of the day, these are just cosmetic items, but I feel like these cosmetic items are content for a lot of people, and to put them behind a paid loot box is a bit scummy, and I just wish that they would rise above the competition and do right by their consumers. But of course, that is just my 2 cents. The next question comes from Oscar, and it is, do you reckon that there's any chance that LMGs and DMRs may see a minor buff across the board to make them a more viable option in Rainbow Six Siege? Yeah, absolutely. I think the reason why this hasn't happened sooner is that Ubisoft has to walk a fine line to ensure that these weapons don't become overpowered. We don't want to have an Ela 2.0 on our hands. Because they have a lot of rounds at their disposal, you don't really have to reload for a while. If they increase their damage, their accuracy, or anything like that, then they might start to push into the territory where they become overpowered. If you never have to reload, one of the reasons why Ela is so strong right now, and you also increase their RPM their damage or something along those lines, we start to run the risk where they might become too good. That said though, one of the biggest weaknesses of LMGs is that they have a very slow time to ADS. It takes a long time when you round the corner to bring up your weapon and then aim down sights. That is one of the biggest weaknesses of LMGs. You need to have that thing ADS pretty much the entire time. That really reduces your maneuverability around the map, and that's one of the limiting factors. And so if they just reduce the recoil on a lot of these weapons, I feel like that would be a fair compromise. You don't need to increase their damage at all, you don't need to increase their RPM, keep the round size as it is, but if you just made them a bit more accurate, I think the drawback of having that very slow ADS time would be a great step in the right direction. I don't think that they would be overpowered. Now, as for the DMRs, I'm also surprised they haven't seen any tweaks. Especially with the introduction of Dokkaebi, it seems very odd that the other operators haven't seen some improvements there. Dokkaebi's DMR, while I don't think it hits as hard per shot compared to all the others, it's very accurate compared to them, and I think it also has a higher RPM. You put those two together, it kind of makes up one of the biggest weaknesses of the other DMRs, and that is that a lot of the times they can kick a lot, they're hard to control, and also they just can't put a lot of shots down range. In a game like Rainbow Six Siege, where RPM is king, because as long as one shot lands on the enemy's face, you're going to be able to take them out, having a low RPM is a really big drawback, and of course that's all the DMRs in a nutshell. And so I'm kind of surprised that they haven't seen an increase in not only just their accuracy, but maybe also their RPM slightly. Even if this makes them more competent than they are right now, I don't think it's going to make them overpowered because of all of the other drawbacks that are associated with this weapon. They are more skillful compared to all the other weapons in this game. At least I find them to be. And so with a slight buff, I don't think that's completely unreasonable. Now, the real question is, though, does Ubisoft think that they need any changes? I have absolutely no idea. And so I think a lot of people would agree that especially LMGs are kind of a weaker class of weapon. They could use some improvement. It's really going to come down to Ubisoft if they think they need any changes. The next question comes from Stuart, and it is, how would you feel about a defending operator that can throw a Molotov to slow down pushing attackers? It wouldn't slow movement, but it would do the same damage over time as Capitão's crossbow. I have been wanting to have someone like this added into Rainbow Six Siege for a very long time now, but the reason why I've never expected it is because we essentially have this in the form of Smoke. Smoke may not do as much damage as Capitão's crossbow, but he serves that same function. He's gonna make it very difficult for offense to push on through and get onto the objective. Especially if they're trying to plant the diffuser anywhere near that smoke, it's gonna make it very, very difficult. And so we have to ask the question, what would be the point of bringing in someone that does pretty much the exact same thing, but only slightly differently? Well, the real response to this is, well, hey, if they want to bring in 50 to 100 operators into Siege, they want to turn this into kind of like Dota or League of Legends, where there is just an insane amount of operators, you're going to have this overlap. And I do agree with you. I would not be surprised to see someone like this eventually added into Rainbow Six Siege. We already see this operator gadget crossover with Thermite and Habana. I don't think it's unreasonable to expect it with other operators as well. The real question is, though, how close is Ubisoft to running out of unique operator ideas? Are we ever going to get anyone like Mira again? Not Mira's gadget specifically, but someone so unique yet simplistic that changes the game from here on out. It's kind of hard to say. The next question is, I've been playing Siege for about a year now, and I'd say I've improved quite a bit and placed in multiple seasons. But lately, I've been playing awful. I can't seem to rank up, my aim is off, and I rank down constantly. What would you recommend that us players do that go through this? Take a break, keep trying, and put in the efforts. Well, at least for me personally, because I can only speak for myself and this may not work for you, is I would recommend just taking a break. Either that means play other video games, non-first person shooters, there's some other great games that have come out recently, give those a try, or just take a break from gaming in general. Sometimes that couple day reset is exactly what you need. You come back refreshed, you're thinking about it differently, and if you just continue to grind it out where you're doing bad, it turns into this negative feedback loop. You're doing horrible, you start to get, more negative, you're putting yourself down, which means you're doing worse and worse and worse, and you're just not having fun at that point. And so go out, maybe play some sports, watch some movie, hang out with friends, means do whatever you need to do, take a break, and that might be exactly what you need. Now, once again, like I said, this may not work for everyone, but at least for me, that has been the best way to kind of reset and start fresh and kind of get back into the groove of things. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's episode of Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed in today's video. Are you happy with the way that Ubisoft responded to the concerns of the community with the upcoming DLC? Do you think that they should have gone farther with it? Do you think that the LMGs need an improvement, or do you think that they're in a good spot? Let me know down below in the comment section. As always, if you would like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can also leave a comment or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.